Hi, my name is Olivia Stahl. I'm 24 years old and was adopted from Vietnam. When I was 10 months old, I was diagnosed with E beta thalassemia major.
Hi, my name's Stacey Stahl, and we're from Portland, Oregon. I traveled to Vietnam to bring Olivia home when she was a baby. She immediately got sick while we were in Vietnam, and that's where this journey begins.
After I was diagnosed, I got chronic blood transfusions most of my life.
Because her hemoglobin level was so low, she struggled in school and took naps a lot. She seemed to hover at only about an 8.0 even after the transfusions. We became aware of two options for treatment: a sibling donor transplant or gene therapy, which used Olivia's stem cells. Since we've stayed connected with her birth family, we were able to have all 9 of her siblings tested. And incredibly, there were 4 perfect matches. Even though that felt like a good option, the risks were higher, and she chose to do the study instead.
I was afraid of dying because there was no backup with a sibling transplant. My gene therapy process started with a liver biopsy to make sure I qualified for the study.
We moved temporarily from Portland, Oregon, down to an apartment in Oakland, California, to have the transplant once she was accepted. I'm lucky enough to own my own company, and I could work from anywhere on my laptop with staff to support me. We had a whole tribe of people connected by email updates and stories and photos of Olivia's journey. Support of our friends and family was super important, and we couldn't have done it without them.
I went through fertility treatments to harvest my eggs because we knew I would become sterile after chemo. Then they harvested my stem cells and manipulated them in the lab. Next, I started chemo. The hardest part was probably losing my hair, but I cut my hair shorter before we left to make it easier. I was super lucky. I never got sick from the chemo and I never stopped eating. I slept all day pretty much. I did my makeup every day. I watched makeup tutorials. I watched the Packers play. It was during playoff season, so I watched every single game. I watched the games on Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I stayed up late every night talking to my nurses from like 2 or 3 in the morning. And that's about it.
Her transplant was almost 4 years ago, and the process felt a little anticlimactic, but it was really fascinating. December 13th, 2016 was the last blood transfusion Olivia's received. We spent both Christmas and New Year's in the hospital, but found our own great ways to celebrate and included all the nurses. We stayed at the apartment after the transplant for 3 months while her immune system got better. We changed her central line dressings, and she was on special food and fresh air restrictions until we got back home.
I got to go home a little earlier than expected, and then I got a job at Starbucks. I feel very fortunate that my work works really well with my medical schedule. They're like a second family to me. Instead of taking chelation drugs, I now do phlebotomy every other week. They take a unit of blood out to help lower my iron levels. I'm super close to being done, which will be a huge life change. It'll be super weird not going to the hospital anymore and not seeing my nurses. I will miss them a lot.
Phlebotomy was the most surreal experience as a mom who always protected Olivia from any kind of blood loss. Watching that much blood being taken out is really, really weird. We're grateful for Olivia's medical teams in both Oakland and Portland. She's gone to Oakland every 6 months most of her life, and everyone works together. She's part of the gene therapy study for the next 10 years.
I think it's important to help support the doctors and the patients who come after me. Now I'm what they call non-transfusion dependent. My hemoglobin now runs between a 12.0 and a 13.6 without transfusions. Thank you for letting me share my story. I hope I can be an inspiration to you.